by the Montana Television Network. Montana This Morning continues on Montana's News Leader.
Christopher Watts, the Colorado man charged with killing his pregnant wife and 2 daughters, is due in court this morning. I'm Laura Podesta with details on his admission and the penalty he could face if convicted.
And the Howe Ridge wildfire in Glacier National Park continues to grow. Coming up with the wetter weather means for firefighters battling the blaze and others in Montana.
We'll have more on the fire situation, Matt's forecast in a moment. Meantime, our top story this half hour. Colorado man police say killed his pregnant wife and 2 daughters is now saying his deceased wife was a murderer, according to an affidavit released yesterday.
Christopher Watts will be in court today to learn more about the 9 felony charges filed against him. CBS's Laura Podesta has more.
Christopher Watts says he went into a rage and killed his wife after she strangled their 2 daughters. But Colorado prosecutors filed formal charges against Watts, accusing the 33-year-old of killing his entire family.
3 counts of murder in the first degree after deliberation, 1 count naming Shanann Watts, 1 count naming Bella, 1 count naming Celeste.
Watts is also charged with 3 counts of tampering with a body and 1 count of unlawful termination of a pregnancy.
Mommy has a baby in her belly.
Shanann was pregnant with a boy they were going to name Nico. According to the arrest affidavit released yesterday, Watts was involved in an affair with a co-worker, and last Monday he told his wife he wanted a separation. Shortly after that conversation, Watts said he checked a baby monitor and saw one of his daughters sprawled out and blue, and witnessed his wife strangling the other child. That's when he says he strangled Shanann.
Please bring her back.
But the next day, Chris pleaded for their safe return and was asked by local media if they got into an argument.
It wasn't like an argument. We had an emotional conversation, but I'll leave it at that.
Watts later told police he loaded all 3 bodies into his truck and took them to an oil field where he worked. Prosecutors say it's too early to determine whether they'll pursue the death penalty. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Watts is being held without bail.
Back here at home, Montana wildfire news. Brief rain showers in Glacier National Park yesterday didn't do much to slow the growth of the Howe Ridge fire. It's burning on the west side of Glacier National Park. So far, the fire has burned just a little more than 7,800 acres. What the weather did bring was wind and lightning strikes, which led to several new fire starts in the park. Firefighters have higher hopes for today when wetter weather and higher humidity is expected.
And an update on the Wigwam and Monument fires near Ennis. The 2 fires in the Gravelly Mountain Range have now consumed almost 11,000 acres combined. The Monument fire is nearly 7,000 acres in size and it's 10% contained at this time. Wigwam is about 4,200 acres with 15% containment. And fire officials say with the cooler weather and higher humidity, they've significantly slowed down fire activity, but high winds could whip it up again in the next few days.
And near the town of Jackson, a command center has been established this week to fight 2 wildfires burning in southwestern Montana. MTN's John Amy takes us to the incident command post where they're working on controlling the Goldstone fire and the Beaver Creek fire.
This incident command post is located approximately 50 miles between both the Goldstone fire to the south and the Beaver Creek fire to the north. They decided to consolidate this command center for both fires because of its proximity to the 2 fires, and also this is the best way to utilize the already highly taxed resources to fight fires across the U.S.
There is a big resource issue because there are so many fires across the nation, and it goes on a priority list, and so we are a little further down on the priority list because we are not dealing with evacuations. We are not burning homes.
Because these 2 fires are located in very remote areas, communications has been one of the biggest challenges.
We have both the Goldstone fire and the Beaver Creek fire, about 50 air miles apart. Then we have to set up a repeater system that links here incident command post with those firefighters on the ground.
I'm walking down Main Street. Yes, I know this doesn't look like your typical Main Street USA, but at this incident command post, it's designed to operate just like any village. It's got everything they need.
And this is where we house the major functions of the incident, and that would be command, obviously, safety, information.
And while it's hard to predict what these fires will do, Current weather conditions have slowed down the fires somewhat.
We have two groups of logging equipment that are making fuel breaks on the north and south side of the fires. And what our intention is to, and it's really dense timber, pretty steep slopes too, but we're clearing like a 100-foot wide swath with the logging equipment. And our intention is to set a burnout and backfire from both of those, north and south.
They have crews here from all over the country as well as Montana fighting these fires. These crews could be on as long as 2 weeks and could be extended if necessary. In Jackson, John Amy, MTN News.
By the way, that Goldstone fire burning about 18 miles south of Jackson, almost 9,200 acres. Beaver Creek fire, 18 miles north of Wisdom, is more than 2,000 acres.
It's fire season.
Absolutely
no
true.
question that the smoke has been a big impact.
Oh yeah.
Smoke has been an issue as well. Lightning strikes, we mentioned that on the Howe fire in Glacier Park yesterday with this weather. Today, really low humidities, cooler temperatures this morning.
Higher humidity, lower temperatures, lighter wind. I think that combination helps us. Right now we're in the green as far as air quality is concerned. Just check the numbers. We're doing pretty well early on in the day. I think that smoke's going to filter back in gradually over the course of the next few days. Temperatures still in the 40s for most of us this morning. 41 in West Yellowstone. It's a real heat wave there. Temperature-wise, we'll probably top out into the mid-60s. Light showers possible for the early morning. By the afternoon, we're talking clearing skies, plenty of sunshine, and pretty quiet conditions. We're going to talk about any more rain chances that we may have in the forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. It's now 6:36. Stone cold fact, especially for us here on the morning show. Baked goods make just about everyone smile.
Yeah, but let's face it, some of us are just better at it than others. In this week's Montana May, Justine Stewart takes us to an unassuming bakery in the town of Ravalli, where one woman's donuts have people from around the world stopping to take a bite.
Gooey glaze dripping off a hot, freshly fried donut. It's a pretty mouth-watering sight, and it's something you can see and taste for yourself. If you are traveling up Highway 93 through Ravalli, make sure you look to the west. Nestled behind the railroad tracks is the Windmill Village Bakery, a place that has become a must-stop on the way destination.
We get a lot of tourists. This corridor is pretty much the main road to everywhere that the tourists go out here in this part of Montana.
The bakery has gotten so popular that I showed up on a Monday when they are closed. Usually lines are out the door, which means there's no time to talk. Of course, things weren't always this busy. When they finished building the bakery in 2005, they started off small.
When I first opened the doors, I did all of my baking in 2 toaster ovens. So I could fit 1 pan of 6 muffins in there, 6 cookies at a time, 1 pie.
It didn't take long for customers to start asking for more.
Well, what about pie? Well, how about bread? What about, so we just kind of expanded depending on what the customers were asking for, and that's how it evolved.
4 ovens, 1 proofer, mixers, and 3 Butterball turkey fryers later, Nancy bakes from April straight through to the end of November. Her most popular item, easily the donuts.
The donuts have taken on a life of their own. They're probably the thing we're most known for, are the donuts. So it was my mother's recipe. And after we had started in here, and I was trying to figure out some other variety things to do, I told Dave one day, I said, you know, I think I'm gonna do Mom's old donut recipe, but I'll just do it once a week, just a few, because nobody eats donuts anymore. And then people started asking for those every day, and then they started asking for them all day, every day. And so now, once we turn on the open sign in the morning, that's all we do are donuts. Everything that I make other than donuts, I have to have done before we flip on the open sign, because it's just constant donuts, because we like to serve them fresh.
Which keeps customers coming back, the regulars and the tourists, many of which have actually planned their stop at the bakery after hearing about it on social media.
Huge, huge impact, because you're not just confined to the local area. It is all over. We get people that come from the East Coast, from other countries, who say, we saw you on the internet. And so when we decided to make this trip through here, you were on our list.
One thing's for sure, they won't leave disappointed.
You know, it's easy to get a little blue and down, and maybe a little feeling like humanity is losing some of its kindness or, you know, politeness and all of that. But we don't find that here at all. People are just wonderful. They come in, they're happy. They have to wait for donuts, you know, the people, it lines up and people have to wait. They're jovial and they're happy and they say, no problem, it's okay, everything's good. So you see that wonderful side of humanity again.
Which is easy when you're good at making smiles from scratch. In Ravalli, Justine Stewart, MTN News.
Yeah.
Wow. Mouth-watering. Windmill Village Bakery does take orders for Thanksgiving pies. You can find them online on their Facebook page and website. Oh, yum. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to dream about all of that when we come back. Much more in Montana this week.
The Video Music Awards are still making waves this morning, and not entirely for the right reasons. I'm Laura Podesta with the highlights and why Madonna may be waking up with some regrets.
Good morning. Ahead and only on CBS this morning, hear from the priest who said he warned the Catholic Church about sex abuse allegations twice, the red flags against the former Archbishop of Washington that were apparently ignored. And you might not be getting the coverage you think when buying travel insurance, what you need to know before your next flight. See you right at 7.